Yo, dudes and dudettes, this is Ketchu, and this is Can You Beat Business Heroes Treat Grub without using any condiments? And also, thanks to Keymail for the key, I promise to treat the game gently. The first thing that caught my attention was multiplayer, coming soon. I think I speak for all of us when I ask, will there be competitive matchmaking? Naturally, the first thing I did was skip the tutorial. The system tried to object, but when I'm told what to do, I protest harder than a raccoon being asked to leave the dumpster. The game couldn't handle the majesty of my CEO name, so I had to settle for something shorter, just like the modern woman. My company was christened Grilluminati. Location? America. That's where most of my audience is from. Kudos, by the way. I chose meat-based as my burger patties, because my unhinged plan was never going to work with vegetables. Have you ever tried selling a plain lettuce disc to a child? Exactly. Then the first cutscene played, and I totally didn't stare at it for a full minute before noticing the giant next button. Anyway, Master Lee, our mentor, explains some things, blah blah blah, then he hands us our first free humble stand and tells us about our goals. There are quite a few of them, so I decided to consider the game beat if I can complete all of them with my no condiment plan. I entered this challenge fully confident, which was mistake number 1. After getting free reign, the first thing I did, undressed the burger, naked, devoid of sauces, the most depressing food item legally allowed in a first world country. My opening strategy? $1 burgers. A bold move, a stupid move? The same thing really. The research screen hit me with more buttons than my microwave. I panicked and bought the stock for my premium burgers. Then came the part where a great man would say, this is where the real game begins. My first day was exciting. Mr. Lee Skype called me immediately about customer feedback. I was horrified to learn that everyone in this town jaywalks like it's a competitive sport. I got a pile of negative food reviews. There were some really shifty-looking fellows mixed in with the children. And I reached my first goal of selling 50 burgers in a day. Despite the food being so bland, some folks started praying to their deities. Well, that was easy. I never had any doubts, of course. After all, I come from a long line of successful street grub merchants. We've been flipping burgers long before we even rose from the sea. Here's a picture of my ancestor, Mr. Lobster. I know, the resemblance is unarguable. Next, I got an after-goal cutscene. And my next goal? Sell 50 drinks in one day. Well, that answered that. You cannot beat this game with only sad, naked burgers. That's what I get for handling the challenge like a DIY home electrical repair, with no idea what I'm doing, and excited to find out what sparks up. But that's not gonna stop me. Instead of beating the game, we'll become a millionaire with the plainest of burgers. According to the first end of day report, I sold 72 burgers, excess materials got expired, I got some research points, and failed to make profit. Yet somehow I had more money now than when I began. I don't understand statistics, or accounting, or math. Didn't think those would be necessary when running a business. Looking back now, I got the money from completing the goal. And there I was thinking the numbers were some engineer math I wasn't qualified to interpret. On day 2, a new tab opened up, Workers. Unrelated to it, that's when I learned I could rename the stand. I named it Bear Burgers. I believed in honest and upfront marketing. I mean, I still do, but life has gradients. The Worker tab and the Vehicle tab didn't offer much without research. The system recommended recipe feedback, which is adorable, because I'm not planning to change a single thing. I ignored the noise and prepared enough meat to survive both customers and expiration dates. And for good luck, moved my stand few meters down the same street. The second day was worse, which obviously meant the location was cursed. I bought my first research upgrade, the Arctic Cooler Box, using boost points, special global points you get for doing objectives and for existing. Anyway, my meat was protected in the cooler. I also unlocked the recipe feedback anyway, because the glowing recommendation annoyed me too much to ignore. Then I worked my way up to antibacterial wives, staff and parents. Unlocking the parents was actually a mistake. You see what I mean? After installing the upgrades, I realized my reputation was ready to hit bikini bottom. Every enterprise has a rough start, I'm sure. On day 3, thanks to the customer feedback research, I learned people hated waiting for my awesome product. And because I unlocked parents, they'd occasionally throw burgers in my face and thank my reputation by the power of middle middle-aged and entitled. Obviously, we didn't make a profit this time either. On the research side, I discovered I could boost my service speed and queue control. That's when I realized I had just found my ticket to richdom. I went from 100 to 25 boost points instantly. Turns out impatience is expensive. Who knew? Anyway, I trained myself in the ancient arts of burger flipping, activating a full 5% of my true bloodline ability. Before day 4 even began, we got breaking news from the random event generator, the Randy of this universe. Patty prices were dropping for the next 2 days. Why 2 days, you ask? Well, let's just say I found a supplier with questionable ethics and an even more questionable understanding of what meat is. In this line of work, you don't ask questions. Anyway, 2 days later, someone blew the whistle on them, and now I don't have to pay them anymore. Obviously, I had nothing to do with that. Day 4 was still negative, but at least my meat was cheap, just like my conscience. The next day, I finally paid attention to the feedback. The wait was still too long, everyone still hated the burgers, but they liked the service. They like me! Me! Still no profit. Shocking, I know. On day 6, I unlocked social media marketing and went all in, which, in hindsight, was stupid, because I couldn't even handle the queue I already had. But somehow my reputation climbed from 8 to 10 anyway, and I got an achievement too. Yeah, it felt a little passive-aggressive. I don't know why this town is like that. Day 7, I reached my goal of reputation 12 somehow. I guess the slightly better service quality dragged us across the finish line. The next goal appeared, train any worker to level 2. Oh, I was looking forward to that. Before winding the clock to day 8, I turned off the marketing, unlocked level 2 worker training, and got my next goal, sell 70 burgers with no complaint for a long wait time. Yeah, that one was going to take a while. Day 9 began with news. Mega student bash, or some such nonsense. Basically, 5% more customers and 95% more flicked bookers. Obviously, it was my best day yet. Obviously, I still didn't net profit. To remedy the situation, I researched portable beats and the music channel, hoping to buy more patience for the queue. What I failed to notice was that the music channel wasn't even compatible with my stand. Day 10, someone screamed. Probably got too excited because of the new beats. Wait time still sucked. The net was still red. After another day of usual chorus of complaints, I unlocked pamphlet advertising and a signpost for no adequately explored reasons. I installed the signpost, unlocked the sun-rain barrier for extra patience and quality, but couldn't install it because it would hurt my stand's feelings. I then drew the upcoming entrepreneur to watch card, won a hefty cash prize, became a 1-star street vendor, and thanks to the signpost, my queues got even longer. It's like I'm hitting myself. From there, things kicked off with reduced purchase probability, because apparently everyone hated my reggae lube. Also, fun fact, the shady-looking guys? Yeah, those were the parents. I miss the obvious things sometimes. Didn't matter though, I was almost out of the red, and I even got an award for slow service. Seriously, what is with this town? I researched money tracker because I could, then I got an event giving me 12% more students for a day, followed immediately by an award for long wait times. I bought performance summary to cope. 2 more awards ambushed me. Avoid terrible feedback for 10 days in a row? Sounded pretty good. Then, stay under 50% profit margin for 20 days in a row. That one felt like an insult. Sometimes I get events that don't even apply to me, like cheaper cheese. I don't even use cheese. Eventually I hit a food stand quality of 50. Which was neat. The queues got bigger than ever. Probably word of mouth, people lining up to see if the food was really that bad. That was my best guess. Anything else seemed improbable. An earthquake hit, 7 magnitude. Happiness dropped by 12. My sales didn't care. Misery was already capped. I unlocked worker level 3 and trained myself up to about 80% of my potential. To reach level 4, I started unlocking tier 2 upgrades. Except the customer types. I didn't need more people throwing burgers at me. Then I researched Student Saver. I slept on it because I thought it reduced other customers' purchase chance by 0.5%. Turns out their chances dropped to 0.5%. Reading comprehension is a skill. Didn't install it immediately though. The signpost felt more important. I was so naive and young back then. Day 28 was a disaster arc. I unlocked the toy giveaway, thinking it would attract more students. My reading comprehension is still bad. Hellos, damn it. That wasn't even it. It gets better. Then I unlocked the Maxi Burger wagon. I could barely afford the upgrade, so in a swift galaxy brain move, I sold my current stand, then bought the new wagon, and effectively saved no money because my upgrades were gone, like a great man once said. But wait, there's more. I lost my worker levels too, and I couldn't afford to retrain myself. To save money, I tried moving to street corner because cheaper permit, but the targets are parents in there, and all they do is fling my food back at me. Then I found a shiny new button that let me admire the other locations I could potentially expand into.
That's right, despite these setbacks, our journey was only beginning.
Day 30. New plan. Wait for an event that gives me money. Then I ran out of stock because I forgot to restock.
I'm pretty good when it comes to disappointing everyone.
I raised the burger prices to survive these dark times. The next thing that happened, I ran out of cash just trying to stock for the day, which would have been bad if I hadn't just raised prices. Still net negative though, classic. Then a new fitness app went viral. Everyone got off their sofas, and citywide happiness skyrocketed. To balance it out, Mr. Lee informed me that my reputation had flatlined. I even considered taking out a loan, until I realized I was too stupid to use a bank without prior research.
I hope you can now see just how unprepared I was for this.
I still have no clue why I didn't max out my ingredients, but after dipping back into the negatives, I ran out of stock again, and somehow hit the goal of selling 70 burgers without wait time complaints.
I think it might have been the new fitness app. People were too happy to whine.
My next goal was written in Greek. Could have been instructions for summoning Zeus. No idea. At the end of the day, I finally realized the truth. My shiny new stand's operational cost was eating my profits alive, so I sold it and crawled back to the old one. A few days later, I hit the goal. Still no clue how? Didn't question it. The next goal was also ancient Hebrew, so I let the winds of fate decide when it's done cooking, and turns out that time was the very next day. Then it was true trial by fire. Finish with positive cash flow from operating activities.
There's a first time for everything.
Next, I unlocked the pricing survey, instantly misused it, and then got slapped with a patty shortage, plus 50% patty prices for 2 days.
Guess who had just filled their entire inventory with patties? I was fine, baby.
That night, I surveyed the prices again, at double my usual, and discovered I could have been earning money this entire time. Even with the student saver active, some parents still stopped by to play Tin Can Alley with my burgers. I briefly considered buying bear spray, but with the doubled prices, we hit our first actual profit record.
You understand what this means, right?
We made profit for the first time. Day 41. And the next day, even more profit. I think we actually figured this out. Naturally, that's when we got hit by a smear campaign. Brand reputation -8 for 24 hours.
Unbelievable. I was actually mad I didn't think of it first.
Barely felt it though. After that, I researched Master Griller and Quick Serve, unlocking the next tier of science. Obviously, I trained myself immediately to level 4. I was at 90% of my true power. The seal was almost removed. Then several countries got hit by mad cow disease, which lowered the citywide purchase probability by 5% for 2 days.
I wasn't worried. I take my multivitamins, cook everything in recycled patty grease, and drink my hot dog water. Keeps me regular.
My service speed reached unprecedented levels, where I even got a new award handed to me. My next plan was simple: make enough money to buy a new stand and max out my worker. I grabbed Accounts Pro because it was there. After messing around with the pricing survey, I settled on $2.99 and immediately smashed my personal best. Tried going higher, another smashing success. I tried to get the price management percentage as high as I could, but eventually I just locked it at $2.99 and moved on with my life. Following that, I unlocked Cashless Register and Grill Master, both upgrades my baby's first stand couldn't even use. Then the garbage truck drivers went on strike, and nobody wanted to eat because the whole district smelled like a compost pile.
People don't realize how important garbage truck drivers are to a working society. You better respect them.
Despite the smell, I hit the positive cash flow goal sooner than expected. The next quest was to take 2 small loans. Didn't need them.
I got this.
But I did invest boost points for automatic inventory refill. Clicking those buttons was triggering my overuse injuries. Around day 58, I got impatient, bought the second stand, slapped the upgrades on it, then hired Wang Min and trained him as hard as legally allowed. Randy balanced the scales with the usual negative nonsense. But with the both of us blasting burgers at students, a productive day became a profitable one. Wang Min outsold me. I felt weirdly inadequate.
I guess I should have just been happy I hired someone competent.
After a few profitable days, I unlocked basic banking and finally accepted the 2 required loans, then paid them back instantly. Got an award for repaying within a week.
I think what they meant was within the same day.
Then USA scientist effed around in the jurisdiction of finding out, accidentally unleashing an existential crisis. Citywide happiness? -10. You can't just drop a bombshell like that and act normal.
Anyway, I ignored it.
Not long later, I researched worker level 5 and immediately slapped Wang and myself with it. My true power got unleashed. Wang got close, but I guess he just wasn't as motivated as I was. After this point, the universe kept throwing random bullcrap at me at a 3 to 4 times a week exercise program. But honestly, I had become too powerful to care. Lost money, ate it, bad event, ignored it. Parents throwing burgers in my face, off for the cause. Wang and I kept grinding, expanding the business with the power of love, friendship, and aggressive burger-based crowd control. If it considered moving, had a pulse, or looked at as funny, we fed it. If I'm given a typewriter and an infinite amount of time, eventually I will do something right. Every time we hit a self-imposed cash goal, we expanded to a new area like a fast food fungus.
Don't think too hard about that one.
At first, I got into new areas by moving my truck there, because I forgot how to get to the map view. Also, turns out, as long as you're selling within the throwing distance of your target demographic that happens to be native to the area, they will buy your garbage food. Parents still complained? Of course, parents always complain. At each new spot, I just found the highest price people wouldn't stab me over. Locked it in and never touched it again. Price management percentage? Ignored. I'm a businessman, not a mathematician. Once the burger stand level ups kicked in, I could fit 2 workers inside my garbage disposal. And with enough upgrade shuffling, I reached 100 service quality and 100 burger quality, while still selling the same no-ingredient sadness sandwich. Though I learned later that my profits went down from 30k to 10k when I upgraded the stands in the lower earning areas. Could have fixed it, but now it was just a waiting game anyway. When it came to marketing, I tuned each area around 50 as soon as I unlocked it, then maxed them all out by blasting citywide marketing for the heck of it. Did it change the profits? Not really, but I assume it'll matter later when actual competitors show up. Right now they're still just a concept. I had all the research I needed. In the end, I was collecting upgrades like Digimon cards to amuse me. Except for the one I forgot. You know who you are. I'm watching you. After reaching far enough the goal timeline, the competition showed up, so I handled it maturely. Now I could run 2 stands on the parent-infested street corner. Profit. That competition was scripted. They are still emotionally unavailable in the real game.
That was the beginning of the end of the journey. It was time to kick back and relax.
It took a few in-game days and 10 real-life hours. That's 10 hours for those of you overseas, by the way, to reach my final small goal of $1 million, despite me applying all the standard Candy Crush Saga speedrunning tactics. But eventually, I did it. And just before Christmas. You can't actually see the date right now, but trust me bro, I needed the money to save an orphanage. Truly the greatest seasonal gift. And with that, we now have just enough Christmas DNA to classify this as a Christmas video. Like Die Hard.
Happy Freezer Day everyone!
And that's it for this time folks. To write something new here, I hope you liked it. We'll keep doing it too if you guys approve. Thanks for watching, see you next time, take care now, bye bye then.
Happy holidays!